Well, it finally happened. For months, or more likely years, Dream, the YouTuber, has gone through a lot of controversy, a lot of allegations, and he has now dropped an incredibly lengthy response video, well over an hour long, going into pretty much everything he was accused of and responding to it. Now, before we get into this huge, meaty, girthy video, a lot of you are probably wondering, did he fully exonerate himself, or did he do an absolute blunder? Is the internet going to absolutely despise him going ahead, or has he done a complete clean sweep and everyone is kneeling saying, I'm so sorry, Dream. I'm so sorry I ever doubted you. Well, the funny thing is, and I think this is one of the first times this has ever happened, Dream has not done a clean sweep, but at the same time, he hasn't completely ruined his career. It's a weird one because usually when a YouTuber responds to allegations, they usually get the fan base on their side again, or they don't, and then everyone hates them and villainizes them. Dream at the minute seems to be caught in the middle. Like at the minute, if you look at the like to dislike ratio on his video, it's about 50-50, but that being said as well, that like to dislike ratio is only shown for people that actually installed the plugin to show dislikes and then actually engaged with the video. So it could be very inaccurate. Basically, what I'm trying to say is throughout this response video, you'll notice that the Dream stans will still be, defending him to the high heavens. Like, for example, tweets like this of stans actually that worried that if Dream falls off, they're not even sure what to do with themselves anymore. And then on the other hand, you have the Twitter users that are absolutely out for Dream's blood to the point that saying that he's debunked everything, but they're still gonna hate him anyway. What I also find really interesting about Dream's response is the fact that he pulls up a lot of other YouTubers' names, especially in the Minecraft scene. He mentions Filza, Wilbur Soot, he even mentions Critical at one point because Critical did make a video on him. And then people have then tried to use that against him, being like, you're dragging so many names into this, people that probably don't want to be associated with you. Because again, keep in mind, a lot of people in the Minecraft scene, a lot of the content creators have actually unfollowed Dream, which is something that from me watching the video, he doesn't seem to acknowledge at all, despite him mentioning certain creators, like for example, Filza, who has unfollowed Dream. Now, like I said at the start, this is a very, very lengthy video. This is not a 30 to 40 minute video. I think it's around an hour and 10, 20 minutes long. And what Dream actually does is talk about every single little bit of controversy or allegation that he's been involved in. Now, obviously, as we all know, the big one is the things that have came out recently. Burner accounts talking about, him being inappropriate with fans. But the thing is, he doesn't actually acknowledge or talk about that until the very end of the video. He doesn't go into detail until at the very end. So at the beginning of the video, he talks about his face reveal, how he was the fat kid, and he's like fully open about it. Like, yeah, I lied. I said it wasn't me, even though it pretty much looked like me. But yeah, I'm coming out now and saying that it is me.
Otherwise, I want to start with the biggest lie I have ever told. The face leak photo was me. Of course, it's from when I was really young and I've lost a lot of weight since then, and it wasn't at all representative of what I look like now.
And then he also goes into the cheating scandal, basically admitting that he cheated, but it was like cheating that he didn't know he was cheating because I think he had a mod on or something that he wasn't aware was, illegal to have, or he forgot that he had it switched on. And that's great to, talk about that stuff and put it to bed. But the problem is, I don't think that's the main reason why people clicked on the video to, see if the fat person that was leaked all over the internet was actually your face. I understand that he wants to acknowledge every little bit of controversy and put each one individually to bed. I totally understand that. That makes perfect sense. But at the same time, a lot of people are not going to watch the entire video. They are not going to watch an hour and 10, 20 minutes. And then Twitter will basically say, well, you know what? You actually, you talked about the fat person being you. That's pretty much it. I can see some people easily saying, like you were accused of pretty serious things. Why do you open up the video by talking about speedrunning and your face reveal? Things that people just do not care about now. It's not like you're going to talk about the allegations and then someone is going to point out, wait, but you lied about being the fat person. And then, the entire house of cards, the entire Jenga tower just crumbles. I don't think that would happen. Another thing I noticed as well in the beginning of the video, Dream basically says he's going to be, very open. He's going to be vulnerable. He's going to be honest. But at the same time, a lot of people have pointed out that he doesn't actually show his face at all in the video, which again, like that is not a stipulation for making a response video. You don't have to do that. But it does come across as a bit more impersonal when you're not showing your face, but instead behind, layers and layers of editing that either himself or a team put together. Another thing Dream does early on in the video is like leak some more pictures of him where he was quite chunky, had a little bit of weight on him, almost as if to kind of dunk on people that, were sharing his face. But to be fair, from personal experience, as soon as he posted pictures of his face, I saw many people in many Discord servers instantly set their profile picture to his face. He also goes on to say that he lost all of the weight naturally and there's a story to be told there, but now isn't the time. And I do want to say, thank God he kind of realized, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about my weight loss adventure during very serious allegations. So at least he cut himself off there. He also acknowledged a situation with someone called Manatreed. Apparently he was like housing an abuser, and he basically went on the record to apologize for that, saying that, you know, me coming out defending him at the time, I didn't want to put my face out there, and at the same time, you know, it was very emotionally charged, which, to be fair, he does apologize for.
I jumped to the gun and reacted emotionally. Only later did I properly look into everything, and I apologize.
Now, I'm going to be honest as well. I have never heard of that Manatreed situation in my entire life. I am not deep with the Dream lore at all whatsoever. Now, the next section's pretty interesting because it talks about Charlie, Moist Critical. Because, as you know, Critical made a video talking about the Dream situation, basically listing all the allegations, not really giving too much of an opinion, mostly just saying that Dream did, you know, promote, endorse, or at least kind of give a thumbs up to this kind of weird parasocial relationship. Now, it's funny watching this back because you can tell that Dream, or, you know, whoever helped him write this response, they were very, very careful to not slander Critical in any way, because initially Critical's claim was, you know, you post all these thirst traps, like, for example, these pictures that he would take of himself with, like, you know, kind of quirky captions, being a thirst. But then Dream basically goes on to debunk that he has someone that runs his Snapchat account, and he does post those pictures, but the captions that were added on weren't him. They were, you know, apparently added on to make him look bad. And then he gets on some random person to basically say, oh yeah, I manage Dream's Snapchat, nothing weird happens here, guys. Maybe I like some stuff, but it's all me, it's not Dream. But at no point does Dream ever go on to say, like, Charlie is wrong or Critical is misinformed. So he was very, very careful to not slate Charlie in any way there, because he likely knows that Critical, probably today, is going to upload a video talking about the Dream situation. But despite that, after Dream's initial video actually dropped, Charlie did go on stream, and he basically said he wasn't really happy with how his opinion was misconstrued, how context to what he said was actually cut out.
I'll let him play the clip. This is from a video I made like a month or so ago. Always been on the younger side of things, and yet Dream constantly engages with them in very inappropriate ways, such as like posting thirst traps. So he cuts out one of my biggest points here. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, or if he just didn't think it was relevant, even though I think it's a very relevant point. I also went on to say that he fosters parasocial relationships, which makes it weird to post that kind of stuff. And what I mean by that is by encouraging a parasocial relationship with your community, when you're posting things that can be construed as thirst traps, you just feed into the fantasy, and I think that's pretty irresponsible. So he cuts that part out and focuses more on me just saying he's posting thirst traps and him proving he doesn't.
But yeah, like I said, Dream was very calculated with the way he actually addressed, you know, what Charlie was saying about him, because he never said at any point, like, Charlie is wrong. It's more he just said, well, Charlie could have seen this and believed it like so many other people did. Because obviously Dream, at the minute, he definitely wants Charlie on his side. He would want Charlie to go on a video and basically say, Dream's response was amazing. He knocked it out the park, because then he wins that whole side of the internet. Because then basically that entire side of the internet that Charlie is under, they would then side with Dream. Probably. Now, another concession Dream makes a little bit later into the video is the infamous Kittens tweet. If you don't remember, Dream made a tweet basically comparing all of his fans to kittens, saying he loves them so much they're like a box of kittens. It was absolutely cringe-inducing, one of the worst things he's ever tweeted, probably up there with that same ego-boosted tweet saying, I studied Reddit, and then he apologizes for it, saying he regrets ever making that tweet.
Me calling my fan base kittens. This was a stupid tweet. If I could go back, never would have tweeted it. I completely understand that without knowing my intentions or what I actually meant, it could seem super weird. The whole Discord kittens meme wasn't as big yet.
And I get that. That's great. That's character development. But that is definitely not the reason why people are watching this video. They are not watching this to see you say, oh yeah, that cringe tweet I made a year ago, a couple years ago. I'm sorry about that, guys. One thing I did notice with the Dream video in a lot of examples, he will talk about something and then he will apologize for it, saying he messed up. But then he'll add in almost like a quick little sentence to not justify it, but almost to normalize it. Like, for example, when he made the kitten tweet, he follows up by saying, well, I did tweet, you know, tens of thousands of times, almost as if it was okay for that one to slip through the cracks.
And I just tweet so much, I just wasn't really thinking.
And then afterwards as well, he talks about how he was selling a USB drive full of pictures, and that also included some baby photos, and a lot of people called him weird for that. But then he does follow up and say, well, you know, celebrities do this as well.
And yes, 2 pictures of me from when I was a baby. The intent wasn't at all to sell pictures of me when I was a baby, which other celebrities have actually literally done. The intent was was just to show a little bit of where I'm from. Like you would show pictures in a biography you would sell or something.
He also at one point talks about the average age of his fan base because, you know, as we all like to say, that Minecraft YouTubers, they basically are just like toddler daycare, because a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, they do have an incredibly young audience, especially because so many of them blew up during lockdown when loads and loads of people were stuck indoors all day. Now, Dream seems to have a couple of counters to this. First of all, he shows his demographics, his age, and it shows 18 to 24, that being the majority by around 40%.
My audience outside of YouTube is younger, but the vast majority of people I get recognized by on the street are college aged. And usually dudes being like, what the f? It's Dream!
So what I want to do now, just as an example, not really a direct comparison because we make completely different content, I want to, you know, show you my demographics. So for example, here you can see that, you know, male to female, Jesus Christ, it is an absolute sausage fest, like 91% male. But here you can see the ages, right? So you've got 13 to 17, like just under 4%, 18 to 24, 49%. His was around 41%. And 25 to 34 is 28%, and for him it's around 19%. So it's similar. It is somewhat similar. But the point I do want to make here is there is no way that you can actually verify your audience's age from the YouTube demographics because everyone lies about their age. I mean, I remember when I first made a YouTube account when I was like 14 or something, I lied about my age and said I was born in like the 1800s or something so I could watch age-gated content. That is what everyone does. That's why every single content creator, I guarantee you, every single content creator, apart from people on the YouTube Kids app, their main demographic will always be 18 to 24 because they will lie about their age just to get into that bracket. Now, another point Dream brings up here is him talking about how people that come up to him on the street and recognize him, they're like college age. Unfortunately, I'm not a Dream stalker. I don't watch when he goes to fan meetups or when people approach him in public, so there is no way that I can verify that. He also brings up a very weird point in the video, again, using Charlie because Charlie is basically like the face of commentary, and if Charlie makes a video on Dream, it will basically be the deciding factor for a lot of the internet.
I think Charlie's audience is, of course, much older than mine, but if I posted photos like these, which to be clear, if I was ripped as hell like Charlie, I would 100%. It would be made out to be predatory because it's me when it's not at all. And that same standard isn't applied to TikTok stars or really anyone else but me, just because I'm the Minecraft guy. A lot of the photos me and Charlie have posted are actually really similar. It's just people cherry picking goofy photos of mine and then making them out to be weird. When it's just me posting random photos, because that's literally part of our job.
So he basically shows a bunch of pictures of Charlie, you know, ripped because, you know, as we know, he's min-maxing. He's got that sleeper build. Do I have a sleeper build? But he basically makes the point that Charlie shows off a lot of his skin. He posts his muscles a lot. And he basically says that if he were in the same situation, if he had like a six-pack, if he had muscles and did the same thing, he would be called predatory. And then also follows it up with a quick little insert of, well, celebrities do this as well. Like I said before with the baby pictures, celebrities do that as well. Almost as if like it's a bit of a justification. And then also he goes on to show a bunch of pictures of Charlie and Dream doing similar things like singing at a concert, a bathroom selfie as well. And again, it is very on purpose why he used Charlie as an example there. He didn't use some random YouTuber. He didn't use me. He used Charlie, who is the face of commentary. So it's around 24 minutes into the hour and 22 video where he actually goes into like the first allegation. So the first allegation he talks about is quickly after he face revealed, a girl came out about him basically saying he was flirting with her when she was underage. Now, he never actually denies talking to this girl. He doesn't say that this is all completely made up, but he does go on to say that, you know, she mentioned that she was 18 and he didn't really send or do anything, and he definitely didn't send her face, which is something that she claimed.
A girl named Anastasia tweeted out, "He's only face revealing because he's scared that I'll do it first." And then she followed it up by tweeting, "I'm too tired / real life struggling to get involved, but the YouTuber trending right now already face revealed to me years ago when he was flirting with me when I was a minor." Obviously, because of my face reveal, it took off, pointing out inconsistencies, asking questions, and so on. I didn't have any inappropriate contact with this person. I didn't have any sexual contact with this person. I hardly even remember who this person is at all. And the only messages I could even find with this person were friendly Twitter DMs. And even in those Twitter DMs, I mentioned that they had 18 in their bio, which they contradict. I definitely didn't face reveal to them. That's an obvious lie. Almost nobody knew what I looked like at all before my face reveal. Not even most of my best friends that had known me my entire life.
Now, like I said earlier, Dream does include a lot of YouTubers in this. He does name drop or reference or, you know, show up footage of other YouTubers or streamers. Like, for example, he's trying to make the point of talking to fans and what really is like a stan. Is it someone that watches a couple videos or 5 videos or 10 videos? Basically trying to make the point that there's a difference between between a stan who is like just a fan of the content and then a stan that basically sexualizes everything you do. And then he flashes like various examples on screen, like for example, JSchlatt, when funnily enough, he basically banned any kind of like Minecraft stan from his chat.
There's a difference between a random stan in your Twitch chat that watches every stream because they love you.
And then he also brings up the example of a fan that you talk to and you become friends with, and then it might blossom into something more like an actual relationship. And during this, he shows his PewDiePie and Marzia, who are, you know, obviously married now. And to be fair, Marzia was actually, you know, she used to watch PewDiePie, and PewDiePie would actually send these like, I don't know whether you call it cute or he'd probably call it cringe videos that were unlisted of him playing the guitar that he'd sent to Marzia.
Hey Marzia, I wanted to play you a song, and this is supposed to be one of your favorites, I hope. I just want to say that I'm still sick. I can't even breathe through my nose, and my throat isn't much better either. So I know it's not gonna sound well, but it's just thought that counts, right? So here we go.
But then he does something which a lot of the Minecraft Twitter stans didn't like, and he shows Filza and his wife. Now, the reason why this is a weird thing to include is because, keep in mind, Filza is one of the people to actually unfollow Dream. I'm not sure to the extent of it, and I don't want to theorize if they've actually cut off or anything, but he is one of the Minecraft YouTubers out of quite a few of them to unfollow Dream on Twitter. So yeah, referencing someone that has unfollowed you, it does give a little bit of weird energy. He then goes over another allegation of another girl that was basically, you know, accusing him of doing inappropriate stuff when she was 17. And he shows a transcript of all the DMs and then basically says, well, we can't get hold of all the DMs because apparently she's also deleted stuff as well.
And then she sent another message that was deleted after she made the allegations. But we don't know what it was. We only know the last couple characters. And again, we only know it exists because she messed up and included it in an old TikTok of hers. And then I replied and later and said hi. The only messages that I can see from Amanda were from December 2021 onward. I had no context or recollection of her original messages to me that made it clear that she was a really big fan. I don't remember everyone that messages me, who they are, where I know them from, so on. She messaged me from her personal Instagram, had no connections to any fan accounts, didn't send me any more fan messages, and she had DM'd me many times talking about content creation and streaming.
He also goes on to say it was impossible for him and this girl to actually meet up in person because pre-face reveal, he basically never left the house. And then he proves this by like calling his mom, for his mom to basically like verify this information that he never left the house unless it was for like some kind of doctor's appointment or an emergency.
How many times do you think that I left the house between 2021 and my face reveal?
Wow, I don't know, 3? Maybe 4.
What did I leave the house for whenever I left the house?
Well, I know you went to the dentist 3 times, and then I think one other time was when you had the kidney stones. So
oh yeah, you're at the hospital.
Those were the only times you left the house. And we were worried because we didn't want you to call 911 because we didn't even know if they would come because of all the fake swattings and everything. So I had to come get you and take you to the hospital. So it was probably 5 times that you left.
Dream then goes on to try and prove this like second accuser as a very unreliable narrator, giving examples on how she basically said in a voice recording that she lied about her age. He also gave examples of her being sexual to like other Minecraft streamers, saying that she wanted to like sit on their face and stuff, basically going bit by bit to try and deconstruct this girl's character to the point that no one would, you know, believe her.
People also found old tweets of hers where she was replying very inappropriately to other streamer friends of mine. She was even banned in one of my friend's chats for saying she wanted to sit on his face. These accounts weren't linked to her Instagram, so I would have had no idea about them. She also replied to fans of mine questioning her with slurs. She also said that she was gonna lie and tell me that she was 18, but that she changed her mind, I guess.
So I was going to lie and tell him I was 18.
Now, for the majority of this video, Dream comes across as very stoic. He doesn't really let emotions get involved, but just over halfway through the video, he talks about how these allegations and, you know, how they basically affected him mentally, how he wanted to step away from Minecraft, even debating quitting at one point, basically saying he cut off everyone from his immediate circle. And you can definitely tell that this was recorded at a different time because his tone of voice goes from being, you know, completely neutral and factual to almost sounding like a little bit sad, which obviously on one side, you're going to have people saying, poor Dream, this is, you know, it sucks, it's affecting his mental health. And then you're going to have the other side basically saying he's trying to just manipulate people. But I will say he goes into some pretty heavy stuff, like for example, being swatted, wanting to just move away from content creation, not really talking to people as much as he should, disappointing people, not being there as much as he should have been for the finale of the Dream SMP.
Now, before continuing with other stuff, I want to talk a little bit about what happened after these allegations. After these allegations and after my face reveal, I'll be honest, I lost a lot of motivation. I distanced myself from Minecraft, and I even thought about quitting and retiring. Of course, it was pretty scary, and I just wanted to be able to upload Minecraft videos and have fun with my friends without worrying about people trying to ruin my life or attack my family or make up lies about me. And after all the swatting and doxing and fake allegations, it really just felt not worth it anymore. And I feel like during this time, I really disappointed a lot of my friends and their fans as a result. I didn't spend as much time on the finale of the Dream SMP as I should have. I wasn't good at communicating about anything, really, including important stuff for some people. I wasn't very inactive on everything, and I pretty much isolated myself from most creators that weren't in my immediate circle.
But at the same time, it's hard to kind of like empathize, because to show himself in the video, you've just got the little Dream stickman looking quite sad with like an upside down smiley face. He does also at one point directly apologize to Quackity and his community for, creating unnecessary drama, which, to be fair, is probably a good thing to do, because if you look at the majority of Minecraft streamers right now, they're not doing anything with Dream. They're actually streaming on the QSMP, Quackity's SMP.
And it was not something that Quackity deserved at all. If Quackity didn't want to reply to me about it or wanted to ignore it, that was entirely within his right to do, especially given the awkward circumstances of everything. I'm extremely proud of everything Quackity has done with his project, the QSMP, and genuinely he did it way better than I ever could have.
Another thing that Dream goes into detail about is the situation with him and Nicholas Cantu, the Gumball voice actor. And again, like, because Dream isn't really showing his face or talking to a camera in this video, he has edited, or he's got his team to edit, him, the Dream stickman, and then Gumball, the Gumball character, because that's who Nicholas Cantu is most known for voicing as. So you've got this scene in the video where you see Gumball actually animated to throw a punch at Dream's character. And I hate to admit it, but something he's talking about that's so serious, being physically assaulted, I just know for a fact that by this time tomorrow, that clip is going to be memed all over Twitter.
He was being very aggressive to me throughout the night. I didn't know him. This was my first time ever meeting him, and we were not friends. Eventually, while on FaceTime to show his friends, he hit me out of nowhere. Again, this was my first time ever meeting him. I was there for another hour or so, and then when leaving the party, everyone decided to Uber together because it was late and there wasn't many of us there. Nicholas ended up in the front seat of the Uber that I was in, despite my apprehension. I thought, what's the worst that could happen? It's an Uber ride, and there's other people there, so I wasn't worried. Little did I know.
When he goes over the Gumball situation, again, he doesn't really seem to add any new information. He just goes on to say that the recording in the back of the car wasn't him, it was someone else, which we already knew at that point. But I can totally understand him wanting to address that, because a lot of people on Twitter seem to think that he was the one recording, and he sat on this video of Nicholas Cantu chewing him out and, going on these weird tirades to then use against him later. But then he basically goes on to say that Nicholas, after, punching him, he apologized later on, and then he didn't accept his apology, but he almost like felt bad for him. And then I had this very weird sentence where he basically said like he's a child actor, and a lot of weird things go behind the scenes with child acting. It was almost like throwing a little snide without like fully committing to it. Yeah, it's just one of those.
The next day, Nicholas sent me a very nice DM saying that he was sorry for hitting me, that he was having a really rough night, and that he was high and drunk, and said that he was sorry for spreading false allegations that he knew nothing about, saying that he recognized it could ruin people's lives. Complimented me, called me humble, grounded, and a good human. I didn't accept this apology, but I moved on, and honestly, I felt kind of bad for him. I recognized that he was once a child actor, and I feel like there's a lot of bad stuff in that industry, so I felt a little bit of sympathy. I hoped he would just learn from the mistakes he made that night and move on.
But then he also goes into detail on how Nicholas Cantu, apologized to him, but then actually was still talking shit about him on Twitter regardless, saying that he wanted him dead, a bunch of tweets that he very quickly deleted, but obviously Dream screenshotted them before they were deleted. But then, surprisingly, in a weird turn of events, Dream actually managed to interview the Uber driver, this poor, sorry soul that was driving all of these, way too rich young men in this Uber. And, to be fair, out of this entire story, the Uber driver is the most likable character. Basically, the Uber driver just recalls the entire story that Dream has already mentioned. And at one point, which is actually pretty funny, he says Nicholas Cantu actually lost his phone at the Uber, and he asked the Uber driver to pull over so he can go and look for it. And then the police came over because, getting out on the highway, it's pretty dangerous. And then the Uber driver recalls how Nicholas Cantu apparently started mentioning something about IQ, which is the most like buzzword terminally online internet speak imaginable. Like, imagine if a cop pulls you over and then you start talking about IQ points. Like, it's one of those Among Us 300 IQ play videos from like 2 years ago.
He kept saying something about like IQ, like he felt like he was better, and I was like, nobody cares about your IQ. There's a lot of people with high IQs in jail right now. So what are you going to tell him? You're going to talk to him and say that you're a child child star while you're in jail.
Now, getting the Uber driver on as like a witness or like, you know, to recount events was a very calculated move, and him and his team did a very good job considering that fact and getting in contact with him, because obviously the Uber driver in the story is someone that everyone likes. You might like Dream, you might despise him, you might like Nicholas Cantu, you might despise him, but no one hates the Uber driver. He is a completely neutral person that everyone sides with and everyone kind of feels sorry for. So to get him on board and to basically slate Nicholas while saying Dream is such a good person, there is not a better thing Dream could have done in that situation. The Uber driver even says at one point that Nicholas like needs to do some soul searching, basically just implying that he needs to sort his whole life out. So yeah, it's pretty obvious that there's a reason why the Uber driver was brought on and interviewed in this video. He then goes on to show the absolute Twitter meltdown after the altercation and after Nicholas Cantu was, you know, rambling in the car, and it's almost edited like it's an Avengers trailer. There's like some stock thriller music in the background. There's a bunch of filter effects like we're watching a Call of Duty quickscope montage. It feels very out of place, especially for a serious response video, but I also kind of get that it needs to be dramatized to show how, you know, Twitter, once they hate someone, they will want you dead. Afterwards, he goes into detail about how he was doxxed multiple times, especially during this Nicholas Cantu situation, where tweets showing his actual house that he shows in the video would get tens of thousands of likes, which is pretty insane considering that is just showing private information.
As you can see, it got insane. Tweets doxing me and my friends and family got tens of thousands of likes. I have never seen that in my life.
He also makes a concession that at one point when he said, if you have 7 followers on Twitter, you shouldn't worry about being doxed. But instead of like apologizing for a statement like that and moving on, he, you know, tries to add on to it by saying, you wouldn't have a problem being doxed by having 7 followers because you wouldn't be as much of a target.
In a clip that got a lot of attention from a stream of mine a while ago, I said that if you have 7 followers on Twitter, you shouldn't stress over being doxed. I don't stand by that, and I didn't mean to minimize doxing at all. I had just said before that if you dox people, you are not a part of my community, that I don't support you, and that it's disgusting. It can happen to anyone, and it can be serious to anyone. I was just trying to make the point that it's less likely to happen to somebody that's smaller because people have less reasons to target them.
I think that is complete cope. I really think he should have just apologized there and moved on. But again, it's always like trying to add on another layer to almost justify something or normalize something. Because I've seen people that have like no follower presence online whatsoever, and they still get these micro groups of people that obsess and stalk over them and do dox them. You are not immune to being attacked online, like no matter what level of like e-fame you have. I will agree 100%. The more famous you get, the higher that probability does go up. Definitely. I even remember in like old PewDiePie videos, he would get like mugs sent to his house, and it would genuinely make him uncomfortable and freak him out.
And I've had fans coming up to each and every single one of them. And here's the big surprise. It's fucking weird. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. It's just stop.
At one point, he does go into detail at the extent that he's been doxxed, that people will pull up at his house basically asking for, you know, where's Clayton? Where's Ryan Clayton Huff? How he's had people try to forge debit cards, credit cards, bank account details, sign people up to various websites. It is really scary stuff, and he shows proof for some of it, but I genuinely do believe all of it. I think no matter how much you hate someone, I do think that level of stalking is just completely fucked up. Like there is no way to justify that. He even goes on at one point that like his 80-year-old grandmother was called up by someone pretending to be Dream and then just harassing her. And as he says himself, that is someone who is just so disconnected from the situation, but they're still being harassed regardless.
It's attempted identity theft for my family members and friends, credit cards being signed up for in people's names, fans or people who dislike you showing up at your house or your family's house to try and break in, trackers being put on your family members' cars, people showing up at your little sister's job, SWAT teams being called to you in your family members' houses, bomb threats and the FBI having to make sure you're okay, people calling your 80-year-old grandma pretending to be you and terrorizing her. That's all stuff that has happened to me, my family, and my friends. They're not hypotheticals. This isn't just that you don't like Dream. It's not just me whose life you're putting at risk and who you're harassing.
Like, I know some people are going to watch this part of the video and chalk me up as like some Dream God Defender, but I genuinely do not understand how at any point someone can call up like a YouTuber's grandmother who they think is like a groomer and then like harass them. Like they have literally done nothing wrong in this situation. Now, Dream then goes on to one of the biggest allegations, which is the moaning allegation. explanation. If you don't know, there was a burner account that was posting about Dream basically grooming someone that was 16 to 17 years old and how he was Snapchatting people and then sending videos of him moaning. Now, this account absolutely blew up, and as he says himself, he was already a bit of a punching bag at the time because of the Nicholas Cantu stuff, which I do agree with. I do think that him being called out was supercharged because he already was being shit on. I'm not saying that as a justification, more just an explanation as to why those tweets did so well at the time. Now, the first thing he jumps on is saying that all of it is not true, basically saying that any kind of screenshot was taken out of context or edited. So outright, he is not like denying these messages. He's not saying that this is all just like, you know, JavaScript edit any web page or Photoshop. So he is saying it isn't true, but he's saying that these messages, some of them probably are legitimate, just not in the context that they're presented.
Someone tweeted out this, accusing me of sexting a 16/17-year-old girl named Jamie. Because I was currently the internet punching bag, and it was proof that the punching was justifiable, it was spread very quickly, without a lot of questions being asked. Before I break it down, I want to immediately say that this is not true. I did not groom anyone, I did not groom Jamie, and I would never be inappropriate with someone underaged. When they posted this allegation, attached was a video. That, of course, went viral. It was a video from another phone of a Snapchat being opened, supposedly from Dream, that had moaning in the background and a very sexual caption. They also attached screenshots of Discord DMs between anonymous people, who were claimed to be two friends of Dream's, and said it was them discussing me having sexted a minor. In these screenshots, they say that I was confronted about it and that I admitted it. I've shown you every piece of evidence they posted without changes, and I've mentioned everything that they've claimed. Now, just to reiterate, this is not true.
Now, Dream tries to debunk this in the most straightforward way possible and basically interviews the girl that was referenced by the burner account. Keep in mind, the girl that's being referenced in the screenshots is not the person that runs the burner account. They were basically, you know, sent these messages, and the girl basically goes on record saying Dream did absolutely nothing wrong.
So I found out who was anonymous in these messages, and let's hear what they have to say.
These screenshots are extremely out of context and used disingenuously to tell a story about Dream that isn't true at all. I haven't spoken to Dream in a very long time, but to my knowledge, he has not interacted with underage fans inappropriately or in any way that could be considered grooming. These DMs were posted by the burner without my permission and without ever contacting me beforehand. They were sent to the burner by a vulnerable person that was upset and being taken advantage of while under the influence of alcohol. I want to be anonymous and stay completely out of this because all of the terrible stuff I've seen happen to everyone mentioned on both sides is very scary. This conversation was private in my life, and no one deserves to have their personal life dug through because of anonymous people making false claims without knowledge or context about anything they're saying.
This person was not involved at all and did not consent to anything.
To which, as recording this video, the last thing the burner account tweeted, either this person lied to us about the allegations being true, sent us fake proof, and then gave us permission to post it for whatever reason, or they lied in Dream's response video about the allegations being false and the allegations being true. So it's definitely a bit of a head-twisting situation, but like I said at the very beginning of the video, I genuinely don't think this is going to sway Dream haters at all. I still think they're going to have a raging hate boner for him, and they're going to still think he's a predator. And the stans, of course, will blindly defend him to the point that, I mean, like, even if that wasn't included in the video, they would have blindly defended him anyway. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this part, but there's one point where he shows someone that made accusations against Dream, not the burner account, someone entirely different, and then basically apologized for making those accusations in the first place. And when they were called out for it, saying, you know, you're going to get sued, they replied by saying, I'm anonymous and I have a VPN.
One of the people that made the fake allegations even tweeted that I can't sue them, that they're anonymous and on a VPN. After they were caught, people will take a claim with almost no evidence and run with it.
So I don't understand the thought process of some people, like if they're signed up to NordVPN, that then instantly makes them like immune to being sued for slander. But again, I do want to say that was like one example of someone that admitted to lying and basically apologized for it. That is not the burner account or other people that have, you know, accused him of stuff as well. Dream then closes out the video in, again, a very calculated way. He has mentioned a lot of YouTubers throughout the video. He's mentioned Wilbur, Filzer, Critical, but as we know, Dream and XQC are friends, or at least mutuals to some degree, because we have seen footage of them meeting up in public and genuinely just chatting.
Excuse me, what do you do for a living?
I do YouTube.
YouTube?
Music as well.
What do you do?
I steal content. I'm a content thief.
What do you do?
We play Minecraft.
There we go.
Yeah, it's the best game. True. He's still at it too.
Are you guys gonna 1v1 you in any game, or?
Yeah, I'm down. 1v1 you in Minecraft.
Okay, all right.
So to basically prove that DMs can easily be faked and fraudulent, he got XQC to set him up with a chat message basically saying, can you moan for him?
Okay, XQC. I know you're probably watching this. I want you to address this. What do you have to say for yourself? It's irrefutable proof. Look, here it is on a second phone. Prove to me you didn't send me this video. or you're a pervert. Forever. And everyone watching this will now know it.
And then also he shows another screenshot as well of like Pokimane talking about her cookies.
Or Pokimane, you've been getting some hate for your cookie prices recently. And I don't mean to expose you, but you did say this to me. And I think that's disgusting. What do you have to say for yourself? What more proof do you need? I also have the cookies she sent me and a signed note from her. This is irrefutable evidence.
If you remember that controversy as well of her, you know, trying to sell these cookies and basically how overpriced they were, and they were just repackaged cookies, and she's admitting that in the DMs. These DMs are fake. Obviously, I will be honest, when I saw these DMs in the video, I think someone sent me it before I even watched the Dream video. I actually thought they were legitimate. So even I fell for it. That obviously doesn't completely excuse him or exonerate him, but it does go to show that some DMs can be shared around that are, you know, completely fake.
Quick update on that Pokimane cookies thing, by the way. Even Pokimane thought it was real. I don't think she was asked permission by the look of it. And Dream actually had to basically go onto Twitter, reply to her, and apologize.
But I do think at the same time as well, it's like kind of poor taste to have, you know, XQC moan for you and then Pokimane, you know, talking about Pokimane's cookies when the actual accusations are much more serious than, you know, making cookies that are overpriced and they've got like slightly more vitamins in than the original cookies. He then ends the video by saying that he's going to, you know, step back from Twitter and not use it anymore and his management is going to run it instead, which funnily enough is the exact same thing that KSI said. And he said like, you know, he's giving up on Twitter because he got blasted so much. But then it's pretty obvious that he's still on Twitter. It's more just of a cope. I can definitely imagine he'd still be lurking on Twitter regardless. I mean, once you're on Twitter, you never go away. But that's pretty much the whole video. I know I didn't go into detail over every single little detail because this video would unironically be like 3 hours long, but I tried to cover most of it. But like I said at the beginning of the video, my opinion really hasn't changed. If you hate Dream, you're still going to hate him. If you're a stan of Dream, if you love him, you're still going to love him. Like this video will basically change no one's opinion. And like I said at the beginning, the like to dislike ratio perfectly reflects that because it's 50-50. I definitely think there's a reason why Dream talked about uploading his response video on his private protected account Twitter and not on his main Twitter or his second Twitter that are public, because I think he knows that he's lost Twitter as his home turf. He really can't use that anymore. I'm not sure what he'll do next, whether it's, you know, content creation on YouTube. It would be interesting to see if the views that he gets would actually still stay the same. What's most interesting now is what happens to him next. I mean, does he continue to do Minecraft videos on YouTube? And if he does, will there actually be a decrease or increase in views? Because after a serious allegation, it really can supercharge your channel because a lot more people are looking at it, or it could just completely kill your career because the fan base doesn't want to associate with you anymore. I mean, he might even do what David Dobrik did, which was quitting YouTube entirely to post on Snapchat, because the Snapchat money you get for posting like 200 pictures a day, it is unreal. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire take on it. What's my opinion? Minecraft's a mid-game.
Do I have a sleeper build?
I'm probably gonna get memed on just for flexing that, Jesus.